Saguli Sagwegi, Dewas Legit Neoget, Sota Uni, Navigate the Lord. Greetings, everyone. Grand Chief Joel Abram from AIAI.
Sego, I'm Chief Don Miracle, elected Chief of the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte.
Bonjour, Mary Duckworth, Chief of Caldwell First Nation.
Sukuli Swokweg, Kanigalhoya, New Jets, Otahyun, Niwagi Delode. My name is Jessica Hale, and I'm the elected Chief, Oneida Nation of the Thames.
Kwingani Waloma, my name is Gord Peters. I'm from Alnapawi Lakiwit. I'm currently the Deputy Grand Chief at AIAI.
Nita Shinzi, Denise Stonefish, Alnapawi Lakawit, Delaware Nation.
Lori Carr, Chief for Hiawatha First Nation.
Chief Philip Franks, Watamaks.
Anin, Ogaman Nebenagojin, Goyakasit, Ishnakaz, from Batchewana First Nation, Chieftain Sayers. We've had many challenges with the Canadian government, the Ontario government over the years, and I recall in particular, not long ago really, in the last 10 years, challenges with the federal government trying to impose the harmonized sales tax. And AIAI really mobilized a lot of our communities to be actively involved, and at the end of the day we were successful in having an exemption to the PST portion of the HST. It's not where we want to be in its entirety, but it is a really good accomplishment for us.
Well, our community was one of the founding members of AIAI in 1969, at which time when Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau wanted to implement the white paper policy to abolish Indian status and Indian reserves and the termination of all rights and treaty rights and all rights and title. And so I think that was the major accomplishment of the organization, was that we kept our rights and kept our reserves and our Indian status and in our special and unique relationship with the federal government.
It's an organization that is really necessary for small First Nations like Caldwell First Nation. We are one of the smallest First Nations, and in 1988 when we joined AIAI, we were not funded very well. So for us to even gain speed and momentum, it was AIAI that really helped Caldwell First Nation around programming and around support, because we are so small.
I think our battle to stop the framework, at least the one that we had put a stop to, that was a major success for us, because I think we're one of the leaders throughout the nation and rallying against that. That doesn't mean the government's going to stop trying to implement it, but at that go, we were pretty successful in that one.
I think the first one was the constitutional discussions that started in the early 80s that became part of that process kind of by default, but it was a tremendous learning experience. I've also been involved in the negotiations for the gaming revenue agreements in this region. And lastly, the last one I was involved with was with Hydro, called the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
I've seen AIAI come from an organization that consisted of 3 board of directors representatives from each member nation, being scaled down to how they exist today, as the Chiefs Council is now the board of directors.
I believe it was about 1975. In our small community, all these cars started to roll in, and everybody was wondering what was going on. It turns out that that's the first time Wattamohawks had ever hosted a General Assembly for AIAI, and so that was the beginning of more awareness in our community. And I think that was a major milestone for us.
As I look back, I think of the challenges sometimes that we face as Indigenous people in proximity and in relation to the Crown. We sometimes need reminders of who we are, and it was really beautiful historically near the beginning of the creation of AIAI, how AI embraced the development of an eagle staff. And some of our elders, Jerome and Hilda Surrett in particular, brought forward this vision of this eagle staff, and that eagle staff is still in place today. It has a really special place in the hearts of all of us, and it helps guide our work and what we do in trying to bring that Minombewansu and that good life to all of our people. So I really really appreciate AIAI's openness to have these Eagle staffs and these feathers join us in the work that we do for our people.
The challenges we have is that we're small. We don't have a lot of resources. We're getting bigger and we're growing our resources. But it's also about growing capacity. So our capacity issues that we've always had AIAI there to lean on.
Well, starting with, the white paper in 1969, which has kicked off the organization, and I think the constitutional battle and the leaders that were present at that time in the 80s was a major thing, so, and then there's always, individual things throughout the 90s with all the, there was OCA happened then, and then, and then in the 2000s we had the Stony Point incidents, and so there's all these challenges and how we deal with those politically.
The biggest area is capacity building, knowledge, general history, all those areas combined help us to be able to retain those things which we have had from our own past, bring it into the future, try to figure out how we're going to make it work today. And so building relationships is a key to all of those areas that we work with.
We're an Indigenous community that was separated by the American border. And a lot of our people live on what we call now the United States side, and a lot live on the Canadian side. After 9/11, the United States really put a lot of parameters in place that prohibited our free exercise of traveling throughout North America. And through AIAI and other initiatives, but I think on the most part through AI, we were able to obtain an exemption to the WHITI, or the Western Hemisphere Travel Initiative, which allows us to travel throughout North America as we're in a habit of doing. And just by presenting our status card, our Indigenous ID, which is, we don't need a passport. I'm really impressed with our ability to make such a big shift with how things were moving forward. We continue today with the association to provide cross-cultural awareness, which is so important to our people as we look at the borders of Sault Ste. Marie, Sarnia, Detroit, Buffalo, and Niagara Falls, which are all in close proximity to AIAI communities. So it's really great work that's happening with AI and border issues.
Well, I think the chiefs appreciate that we all have common issues. They respect each other. And there's been a long time association and friendships with people in the organization. And AIAI has been a leader in speaking out on issues both at the Chiefs of Ontario as well as the AFN National Forum, and carrying out lobby sessions with government to help influence positive change.
That speaks volumes in these times. An organization that can make it through the 1980s, through a recession, and then the 90s when we were all battling another government, into the 2000s and beyond, tells me that it's an organization that's well run, organized, and has a mission and is able to meet deliverables.
I think 50 years is a good mark for people. It's a good way to be able to demonstrate that there's been give and take by the communities and through AI's leadership. It's about what they deliver to the communities, the kind of analysis, it's the reports that get delivered. All of those things help to build relationships.
It's important because we have those challenges that we had then. I recall in the 70s working for another organization. The agendas for their meetings were housing, education, welfare, all the same things. So we still have to deal with that. So the fact that we're 50 years into this and still going on and still carrying on that work is a major accomplishment.
After the last provincial election, some of my people were saying, so what do you think of the new government? And I said, we've been through maybe 100 governments in the last 400 years. So it really doesn't matter what government's in place. Our vision, our objective, our mission is still the same. We have fortitude, we have motivation, we have insight, we have view, we have vision, and it's really nice to be a part of that.
That is an amazing accomplishment. And for AIAI to make it to 50 years, shows the integrity that they have. It shows the skill that they've brought forward over the years, the determination, the advocacy, all those pieces that make AIAI is what has helped to make our communities better and be able to advocate better for each of our communities and our individual citizens.
I think the rights framework has been the most memorable thing that I've really seen because it really galvanized our community. We were able to bring AIAI in to support us, and from there we were able to gather like-minded people together and to fight something that would really have eroded our rights. Still is a challenge today. It hasn't gone away. It's still there, and we're still working together to ensure that our rights are maintained.
For me, I have to say, because I see more from community, was community events and being able to put on the water rally that we just went to, for example, being able to come together with other organizations in our area and really have good conversations and care about each other and talk about the water strategies, plans, everything. It's really an organization that kind of wraps around you to support you.
You could list many: child welfare, policing. I think one of the significant ones is the work that AI did in terms of the Ontario First Nations policing agreement and being able to provide the member nations with the analysis and the input, and is it beneficial to us?
I think the achievements of AIAI over the years have been many, a large list. But what I do want to also mention is that the struggles have been many as well. And we haven't always been successful, and so it's important that we keep on our agenda to overcome those barriers.
I think about the relationship with the Crown, and our association members are really representations of a lot of nations. The Mohawk Nation, the Ojibwe Nation, the Delaware Nation, the Potawatomi Nation that's represented through Caldwell. AIAI has not only been able to capture that and bring that forward throughout our own association and our relationships with the Crown, but I think that ripples over into other nation-to-nation relationships that are being encouraged and adopted by organizations right across the province, because I believe AIAI speaks from that mindset. So I think we've had a lot of ability to sway how things evolve with Indigenous politics in the province, and we're moving towards a nationhood model, and I think AIAI is in a really good position to make that happen.
Take a strong interest in your community, be a good citizen and help out where you can, and learn more about what you can, because the torch we're throwing into them, they're the next generation of leaders, and they'll have to carry on from where we left off.
Well, the youth of today are quite amazing, so I know that already. They are far and above, more able to figure out problems. And when I say that in terms of technology, I think our youth are brilliant, and I think they're growing stronger. And the one thing I want to add is that our culture and our communities is strengthening our youth. And I would say to any youth in front of me today is come and learn and come and sit with us, and let's build, you'll be here when I'm gone. Let's move forward together so that it can be a passing of the torch.
Be who you are. Be proud of your identity. Be proud of your culture. Be proud of your heritage. Be proud of your songs. Because you're going to have to be the next ones coming up and taking up that mantle of leadership. I think the next big fight's going to be about Mother Earth itself, in the environment, climate. Things are changing fast, so we have to act fast now, and it's going to require some drastic things. So I think First Nations people are going to be helping to lead that fight, And I think the youth are getting a stronger voice now. We now have a youth council. That wasn't around when I was a younger fellow. And so now there's a lot more opportunity, and we have some great young leadership now, not only within AI, but within Ontario and within the nation, you know. So I'm very optimistic about the youth is going to be ready, and they're already starting to take over these leadership roles. So I'm excited and confident that our youth are going to be great leaders, and they already are. So I just say keep on trucking and doing what you're doing.
I would like to say to learn your language, speak your language, practice your cultural ways, get involved in things, learn your history, learn the things that have been in our past, so that when we go forward in the future, they will be our leaders. And I'd like to see them start to lead now.
Youth inspire me by the way they work. I said to the youth before, I thought they were awesome in the way that they conducted themselves, the way that they bring their message across to us. At the rallies, they come, they write poetry, they write rap songs, they deliver their message in so many different ways. And I think that's what we're learning from them, and I think that shared responsibilities that we're passing on to each other helps us both go into the future together.
I think it's the other way around. We learn from the youth, but one message I'd like to leave for them is be prepared to fight with the blue gold. There'll be a new thing coming out that we're going to have to really fight and dedicate our time to saving Mother Earth's water.
That it's important to be aware of what is happening at leadership tables in your own communities, to ask and to learn about our place as First Nations in this country.
We've made accommodation in the last couple of years for our youth to be voting members of our organization. And we want to have your voice there and be a part of all of the decisions. We need our young people to come with innovation, come with new ideas. How can you be involved? We're not going to prescribe how you can be involved. We want you to tell us how you want to be involved, and it's up to us to embrace how you're going to be involved.
I would like to see them take on a more focused approach to the legislation pieces that are coming out that will affect our First Nations. We've been doing that for the past couple years, but I would like to see that continue the lobby pieces and having a communication that we're all on the same page and that we all move forward in the same direction, opposing those legislations that aren't for us, or working with them for the betterment of our community and citizens.
It's my great pleasure to host the 50th anniversary of AIAI. Happy anniversary, AIAI.
Okay, I just want to congratulate the association on its 50th anniversary, and to all those leaders that have gone before us, and to my colleagues that I work with now for all the work that they do as well, and happy anniversary.
Minnow de Bishkan AIAI, and congratulations on your 50 trips around the sun.
Congratulations, AIAI, on 50 years of success. Miigwech.
Happy 50th AIAI.
Happy anniversary, AIAI.